We are now.
We're on.
Yeah.
And we got a new table. We got a nice new table that we're broadcasting from. Look at that. This table's going to hold a lot of jars. In a couple months, I'm going to do a show where every spot of this table is jars. Or maybe not. Seems like a lot of fucking jars to carry around.
Here, let's get some more.
I cleaned my Roer. Actually, no, I just cleaned the Sublimator bowl. Now, that's one thing I wanted to... Now that it's in the forefront of my mind, every show I kind of want to give a little tip. But I always forget because I'm so fucking stoned and usually unorganized. Yeah. And that is... Always clean your Sublimator bowl. Pop your screens out. Take some isopropyl and some paper towel, and make a nice little pointy thing. Soak that in the isopropyl, and clean that bowl, because the atomizer in this bowl is what's really getting us fucked up. Look at how thick this is. So nicely atomized. Look at that. It's white. Wow. So there's my Sublimator tip for the day. Hey, why don't we do this? Out of the videos we uploaded, there's one of me sitting.
Okay. That one?
Yeah, that's the one. So I did a little, because I didn't always have a Sublimator. I used to use a heat gun, a Steinel heat gun, and so I wanted to make a little video of life before the Sublimator, and this is life before the Sublimator.
I can do move our crosshairs though. Here.
Move those crosshairs, man. We got crosshairs. The hairs are cross.
This is life before the Sublimator.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
This is life before the Sublimator was very bulky and obtrusive. Do you remember my backpack?
I do.
Do you remember I used to carry that big backpack because I used to have to bring my fucking heat gun everywhere?
Oh, yeah.
It was this huge, like, you could literally fit 10 pounds of weed in this backpack.
It was a solid pack.
I bought this backpack because it fit 10 pounds of weed.
Hold on one second.
That's a whole other story from bygone days.
You still have a pretty big pack now, though.
It's just a nice standard.
Whoa. Something strange happened.
What just happened, man?
I don't know. We got a weird echo.
Was it an echo?
It like sounded like a dub track.
Uh-oh.
No, it's good now, but it's very strange.
Interesting.
Okay, here we go. So this is ready to go anytime, essentially.
All right, let's rock this shit.
All right. Rock and roll, baby. Life before the sub. Oh, and you look like you got a cool shirt on, too, there.
Yeah,
with
I got my John Goodman shirt on.
All right, here it is.
Life before the Sublimator. Look at this big, bulky, intrusive thing. Delivers a really nice hit, but holy fucking bulky, noisy. It's got fans in it, so there's, sucks in dust and hair. Every now and then you gotta run it hot to burn off everything internally. So, this was life before the Sublimator. Big ass fucking, yeah. Delivers a really nice rip. It's not a Sublimator rip, but it's very instantaneous, as you can see. It's a variable temperature rip that's similar to the Sublimator. No atomization. Ray, where do I do my dab? You know what I mean? It's just one-sided, not a multifaceted tool for what we do. That's gonna take me roughly 3 hits to consume this rip. Which is, I don't know, it's alright, but I kind of like the Sublimator where you can just get everything almost instantly. And again, fucking bulky and so, such a, yeah, clumsy device this is. Alright, so right before the Sublimator. Now that I think I got some dust in there. Now this, we gotta let it cool down in between each rip and blah blah blah. But here we have a Sublimator. So much lighter, it's not noisy. Hey, where's the sound? There isn't any. And again, with the cage, we can hold it. Fucking awesome tool. So, what I like about the Sublimator is what took me 3 rips to consume, I can get almost all at once. And it really takes you to another place. This French guy, when we were in Spain, ran up to Enrico and he grabbed him and he says, "It's brilliant! Pure pineal gland activation!" And he's right, it just fucking hits you right here. I feel squished. The further manipulation of the molecule, the atomization of the gas, is a fucking game changer. Wow. You know, every now and then I gotta go back to see what life was like before this fucking crazy future device. It's like Tesla. Tesla came and gave this to Enrico. I don't know where the fuck. Like, it was a pure evolution of accidental discoveries. All right. So, life before the fucking Sublimator was pretty primitive. Pretty primitive. I'm glad to be part of the future clan. Peace out, motherfuckers. Keep on subbing in. Alright, so there's a Sublimator contest going on. And all you got to do to enter is you got to join Pot TV YouTube, and you have to join Sublimator YouTube.
Yep.
And what, contact you after they do? Or?
No. As soon as they join both of those, they will be automatically entered in. Anybody who's joined in both of them has
yeah. The minute you join both of those channels,
yeah,
you're automatically linked to a draw.
You're subscribed into the If you subscribe to youtube.com/PotTV Network and youtube.com/ now it's Sublimator here. We better find the exact wording for the Sublimator one. We really want to get people to go and subscribe to our YouTube page.
So what happens is the winner of this this draw gets a free Sublimator, the Dab Master, which is this unit right here, with the medical kit bong. So yeah,
we're gonna confirm all that with Enrico today, just to make sure that is indeed the one he's giving away. But it should be the medical Dab Master kit. And so, is this the official page? It looks like the Sublimator's written twice. Sublimator.
No,
like youtube.com user Sublimator. Is that not the official page?
No, there's another one.
There's another one. I wonder which is the... Well, today we'll also confirm with Enrico which is the one he wants to be sending people to.
Okay.
Yeah, because this.
So we'll have all of that
official
info up
channel,
on Cannabis Culture
Today.
homepage later today.
Yeah.
So check in around supper time.
Yeah, this I don't think there's any other Sublimator one besides this. Looks like the official one. It's all linked up to the Pot TV. And
Okay,
our
yeah,
on-air
that's the one,
channels
man.
and everything.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. So once you're signed up to both of these, then
you're in.
you're in.
And,
You could win a free
You
Sublimator.
could win a free Sublimator.
It's pretty
Show
dope.
it to all your friends.
I use mine for dabbing a lot.
Fucking love it. Sublimators rock. All right. So last week I didn't do a show. Jared was down for the count. I was down for the count. Just happens sometimes.
Yep. I think I just got back from Toronto.
You
actually.
just got back from Champs the night before, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great actually. Toronto was pretty kick-ass.
So the week before that, we played part 1 of this Ben Livingston video. And I think we're going to play part 2 of it now. So roll up some fatties. It's discouraging. But hey, whatever. As long as we got cannabis, it doesn't really matter what the fuck they throw in front of us. We just take that shit in stride. Because that's what weed is for. So
tell people about this guy real quick.
well, Ben Livingston is he's a very astute elderly gentleman who was the first to seed a cloud. And what he did was he figured out how to shoot stuff into clouds to make it rain, basically. And they implemented this in Vietnam. Was the first place the U.S. government took part, and they made it rain over the Ho Chi Minh Trail, creating some pretty unbearable conditions. So yeah, Ben Livingston, and this is the father of weaponized weather, part 2. Scary shit.
A hurricane. The hypothesis for how to do this had been designed, developed by Dr. Joanne Simpson, and her husband, Dr. Robert Simpson, was the director of Project Storm Fury for a number of years. And we followed her hypothesis, which said that if you seed enough clouds in the right front quadrant of a hurricane where the energy cells are, you may build a second eye, or at the minimum make this original eye much bigger, which meant you have a reduction in wind velocity.
Tell us again, Mr. Livingston, Ben, just exactly who Mr. Simpson is.
Dr. Simpson, at the time Project Storm Fury started, he was the head of the United States Weather Bureau. With the funds being made available for Project Storm Fury, they created a new department or new entity of government called the National Hurricane Research Center. And Dr. Simpson, Dr. Bob Simpson, was the director of that group.
So he's preeminent.
He is preeminent. And his wife, Joanne, I attended a ceremony for her induction into the National Center for Atmospheric Research Laboratory Wall of Fame last summer, in which her name was placed on the wall as one of the 5 preeminent scientists in the nation in the 20th century. That's his wife, Joanne, who was the head of Project Storm Fury for the 2 years. I worked with her for those 2 years.
And they're saying right here that this is conclusive.
Yes.
So why aren't we saving people hundreds of millions of dollars and thousands of lives? This needs to be implemented.
This book, Hurricane Watch here, is very important because it's written by a person who's a former director of the National Hurricane Center. So he's had worlds of experience in the research in these things. And I might add that I took Dr. Bob Sheets on his first airplane ride into a hurricane in 1964. But he has documented a number of things that are important to the subject we're talking about. in which he's described every storm, the background to those storms, what was done to them, and the results. He's also described Dr. Bob Simpson. He says, all in all, Bob Simpson undoubtedly has had more impact on hurricane research and forecasting than any other single person. And I might add the second most important person in this direction or this field is his wife, Dr. Joanne Simpson.
Ben, what do you say to the folks that say, oh, well, if you mess with a hurricane, that might cause some unintended consequence? You know, as if that energy has to go somewhere. Doesn't it just dump into the ocean as cold water?
It may just spread out and blow across the ocean. It may not go anywhere where anyone cares. And there's certainly going to be, if there are going to be unintended consequences, you would know within an hour after you'd seeded a hurricane, you would know that something is not going right. We have to go do something different before it causes damage.
So you'd have days to be adjusting.
You'd have days. The way we plan on doing it, we'd only have 2 days. We'd only work on a hurricane.
Well, this is a pretty exact science now, from Vietnam to the hurricanes you did earlier. Seems like, I mean, you guys know how to knock them out.
Well, for the operation we hope to get last fall, I wrote a flight plan for every flight. How far they would go, how many partakers they would take, and statistically how many nuclei they needed to spend.
How many tons of nuclei would it have taken? You said 2 airplanes, but how many tons of nuclei would it have taken? How many airplanes to knock out Rita or Katrina?
You don't measure these partakers in terms of tons. You measure them in terms of half pounds. So a cloud seeding device with 14 grams of silver iodide mixture in it that produces 10 to the 13 nuclei per gram weighs about 1/3 of a pound. So 400 of those things weighs 120 pounds. The composition of a hurricane may have dozens of energy cells in it, and they're like the pistons in an engine. They just chug, chug, chug. They get stronger and stronger and stronger because they feed off the warm air below them. And they eventually turn into this thing they call a hurricane with all of these energy cells in it. We know where those energy cells are. We know what makes them tick. We have the materials, if you will, to alter those energy cells and decrease the maximum surface winds in a hurricane. On August 18th in 1969, Hurricane Debbie was seeded 5 times at 2-hour intervals. And the maximum wind speeds had decreased from 115 to 80 miles per hour. That's a pretty remarkable reduction of more than 45% in damage reduction potential. The storm was left alone on the 19th, and on the 20th went back and seeded that cloud the second time and decreased the winds again to just under 100 miles per hour, or about 24% more damage reduction potential. The results from the Hurricane Debbie experiment seemed so positive that many individuals believed the project should go operational, seeding major hurricanes that threaten land. A team of scientists at Stanford Research Institute at Stanford University did a decision analysis on all past seeding events, including the Esther, that's the 1961 and 1963 experiments. Dr. James Matheson of that group, reflecting their views, stated, "We claim they should consider seeding now if a big hurricane comes straight from Miami." These scientists said the government may have to accept responsibility for not seeding and thereby exposing the public to higher probabilities of severe storm damage and possible higher death tolls. A number of people, scientists if you will, who didn't necessarily endorse applications engineering in these storms. They thought they needed more scientific data. They demanded that a third party investigate all of what Storm Fury had done. Stanford University was the party or the institution that did this study of the activity Project Storm Fury had done. In summary, the results of the Hurricane Debbie experiments seemed so positive that many individuals believe the project should go operational, seeding major hurricanes that threatened any landmass. And a team of scientists at Stanford Research Institute did a decision analysis on all past seeding events, including the ones in 1961, 1963. And Dr. Matheson from Stanford University, the head of the Research Institute, reported that the government may have to accept the responsibility for not seeding and thereby exposing the public to higher probabilities of severe storm damage and possible higher death tolls. It's interesting that we were able to do that and have the results confirmed by Stanford University in 1969. Since 1947, the government has used the logic or reasoning that liability is the killer for weather modification. But that's not why Project Storm Fury was killed, and that's not why they aren't doing it now. In my opinion, the reason they're not doing it is well stated by a very senior official from the National Center of Atmospheric Research in Boulder, Colorado, and he says, even if a well-supported theory of hurricane modification existed, the potential legal aspects of weather modification on this scale argue strongly, in my opinion, against any such efforts. Just a few of the many possibilities include: A, the storm is not modified at all, but some people perceive that it is, get hurt, and sue the modifiers. The storm is modified according to theory, but still does significant damage, and some people blame the modification on the damage, even though the modification actually reduced the overall damage and impact. And third, the modified storm produced winners and losers, and the perceived losers sue. For example, what if soon after the seeding the hurricane abruptly changed course? This happens all the time in nature. The people affected by the new course might well blame the modification effort and sue. Yeah, if you study the situation, you may learn, and very diabolically so, that you don't like to believe this, but there's a possibility, and the economics of it verifies the fact that there is so much damage done that the construction industry in general all over the United States benefits because the cost of material goes up. So the insurance company may or may not gain from having these damage reductions take place. As far as the energy industry is concerned, we all know that they get their money back almost immediately by increasing the price of their product. And it's not unheard of to believe that the actions performed by FEMA or the government is not a surefire way to buy votes. So there may not be any political or economic motivation on the government or some major industry's part to reduce the damages from hurricanes. The material that we put in the atmosphere are not toxic, and by volume, they're nothing. It's my contention that we have a sure defense against those liability lawsuits. We place in our seeding materials a trace element of zinc or some other exotic material so that any rainfall that falls that uses our nuclei to cause the rainfall or the hail, whatever it comes out of it, all they need to do is collect some of that water, find some of our traces of some of our material, and we would then concede that we had something to do with it. And the other, of course, good defense is that we've had such horrendous hurricanes the last several years without any weather modification in the past 30 to 35 years. You sure can't blame a weather modifier for causing damage. The other
You're on now.
All right, we've got a little technical difficulty. I think a lot of times the content of the show is very sensitive, and we get interrupted sometimes. In this case, what was happening was
Or it could be just live stream totally sucks shit.
I know, but usually what happens if live stream just sucks, it freezes up.
Yeah.
What happened in this case is it went from our YouTube video.
It looked like it was transitioning.
Live on the screen here, it transitioned into the camera, which is weird. That means somebody internally.
You should be. Oh no, though.
I mean, somebody internally, like, did that function, which is odd.
Let's see here.
Are we frozen on B-Real?
Yeah, it looks like we're back. We should be back. We're back on and stuff. I'm just waiting.
Looks like it's buffering.
Yeah. I just turned that on. So. But yeah, it looks. As far as I see here, it says perfect streaming. Everything should be good. But
it's very interesting. So
yeah, you're on.
All right, wicked. Now we're gonna go back to Ben Livingston, and yes. I don't want the establishment to feel threatened, because we're only spreading awareness. This is shit that's already happening. It's shit that's out there.
See, it's strange that InfoWars and Prison Planet, that site, one of the only places you can get some of this information.
Yeah.
And it's odd that I think Alex is just such a kook that they're not able to, like, either.
No, it's part of it all.
But why would they want us to know that?
Because it creates fanaticism, and fanaticism discredits movements.
Right.
Right?
But it also gets the information out there.
Well, it does, and part of the treaty that the Trilateral Commission is part of. Trilateral Commission regulates information, so they have to have an outlet for information that's kind of off the wall to go to, because they have to release it somewhere. And it's weird because they don't necessarily have to release it in a news manner. Sometimes this information is released through writing in sitcoms. Sometimes the information is released in little tiny newsletters that only get circulated in like a small area. It's very intricate the way it all works, and who really fucking cares? Like, really, it's all part of the way shit's always worked. If it wasn't for the way shit has worked in the past, we wouldn't be where we are today, and it's going to keep working like that, and we'll be somewhere else in the future with shit still working like this. So whatever. We're just trying to spread people's awareness, or spread some awareness to people so that they can know the system to which they belong.
Yeah, well, this video here looks like we've got a few minutes left of it. I set it back to kind of where it froze.
What's happening, Marijuana Man?
How are you?
Doing pretty good. How's your day going?
It's going along pretty good.
We got some East Coast sour diesel in the rolling papers.
Nice. The D's.
Kind of thin though.
It's
no Vogue.
I use the zigzag blue.
Not the waterproof blues, though.
No, the hemp flax blues. Hey, look, we got light!
Oh.
He's like, yeah, you guys forgot to turn something
it's really
on.
bright now.
Oh, even better. Look at that.
It looked so crisp even without the light, you know?
Nice.
It really did look good.
Cool.
But now
all right.
it nearly looks exactly the same.
Let's get Ben Livingston back.
A little more color in your cheek.
Little rosier. You look
all
like
right, so we're gonna pick up where we froze off.
That's right. All right, so back to the father of weaponized weather. There we go.
All they need to do is collect some of that water, find some of our traces of some of our material, and we would then concede that we had something to do with it. And the other, of course, good defense is that we've had such horrendous hurricanes the last several years without any weather modification in the past 30 or 35 years. You sure can't blame a weather modifier for causing damage. The other governments are using weather control for many purposes. And Indonesia, for instance, Canada, Turkey, Greece, Russia, they're all using weather control to their benefit. And we aren't. Well, for several years, the Russians have had weather control product as one of their national goals. They're using weather control primarily to protect the large sites, or the sites where large numbers of people are congregating for celebration. So, such as in Moscow or Stalingrad, when they have these big military events there, or parades, so forth, they bring their cloud seeding people in, and their objective is to keep it from raining or to knock the clouds down. And it's not just the Russians that do that. Our company, for instance, does the same thing in Calgary every summer. The idea is to keep the hailstorm and the heavy rain down so that the construction business can flourish. It's a contract we've had for 9 years, and every summer we send 2 airplanes up there, or whatever it takes. And their only mission is to prevent hail and keep weather from doing damages in the city limits of Calgary.
You've obviously been successful.
Well, obviously, yes. It's just one of those things that we know how to do, and since the government hasn't done it, the corporate people in America have just built the instruments. They've installed them in their airplanes, but we have to be just as sure of what we do as the government would like to think they have to be. The men, the materials, the aircraft, and all of the other support equipment you need are available today to reduce the damages of hurricanes very significantly, and I'm talking significantly as being more than 35 or 40%. The roof doesn't lift off the house until about 105 miles an hour. If you reduce the damages in hurricanes by 35 or 40%, you're going to save 90% of the damage that's done by them. Because once you get down below 100 miles an hour, there's not a whole lot of damage occurs from the winds and hurricanes. The tack they've taken is that they're willing to spend money they haven't got to repair places that are not repairable, order the people to evacuate, and the people come back and their house is blown away. We think that's foolishness. We think that we ought to be trying to save those houses, let the people evacuate, but have them come back to a house with the furniture in it. Our aircraft can carry over 400 cloud seeding units. Now, those back in Project Storm Fury days could only carry 52. And the fact that we fly 2.5 times as fast and we know exactly where we are all the time, we feel like we have a much better opportunity or better chance of reducing these hurricanes by even more than they were able to in Storm Fury. Number one, we would have attacked Katrina before she passed the southern tip of Florida, coming across the Gulf of Mexico, because there were a lot of people, or a lot of lives at stake there. We may not have done anything with Katrina until she got out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. But from then on, and I mean the middle of the Gulf of Mexico, I'm talking about to the eastern edge of the oil production. When it got close enough to do damage to the oil drilling and producing platforms, we would have started working on Katrina right then, and we would have seeded those energy cells in there based on data from the satellite information. We would have picked the energy cells in that storm, and at least every 12 hours, we would have been out there seeding those energy cells.
Ben, why hasn't there been a lawsuit against the government for not stopping these hurricanes?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I really don't understand why, because the government certainly has reneged on its responsibility to the citizens of the country to protect them. They took unlimited steps in creating the Department of Homeland Defense and spent trillions or hundreds of billions of dollars on that thing. But yet a hurricane comes along that does more damage than that, and they won't even acknowledge the fact that there's some way to prevent it or slow it down. Well, the problem we have right now is that while we've contacted every senator in the U.S. Senate, all 100 of them, we've had one mediocre response from one of them. You get the impression that they just don't care what happens about the hurricanes. And we have presented a proposal to them to do hurricane damage reduction for the year 2006, and it amounts to around $6,000 a month. But we have enough airplanes, we have enough people in our company that we can do that. We need to be out there seeding these hurricanes, and if we don't get the results that we think we're going to get, then we can say we're not ready for it. But that's not going to be the case.
What's this, man?
This is a letter from the Secretary of the Navy, and it's a commendation medal to me, and it's for meritorious services from 28 September through 1 November 1966. As a member of the Scientific Operational Evaluation Team for the Naval Ordnance Test Station deployed to the Republic of Vietnam. During this period, Lieutenant Livingston directly participated in project flights in a combat zone, in program planning, scientific data collection, and evaluation, in material readiness of scientific recording equipments, and in the daily preparation of the weapon system under development, demonstrating outstanding professional competence. He and our procedures, thereby improving their effectiveness. His unyielding demand for accurate and complete data collections, his relentless search for technical competence, and his unwavering devotion to duty were major factors in the outstanding success of the project and were instrumental in the development of a unique major combat capability for the United States. Lieutenant Livingston's outstanding performance was in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. Signed, Paul H. Nitze, Secretary of the Navy.
All right. Frozen and frozen and frozen. This shit's crazy. Live stream fucked up every driver in Jer's Mac.
Yeah, it did. All the sound drivers.
All the sound drivers are screwed. It's crazy.
Yep. They have to actually send me a patch or something to fix it now. I'm going to have to call the 1-800 number afterwards.
That's really, I don't understand computers.
Yeah.
They blow my mind.
It is free software. We've got a lot of usage out of it, so I guess we can't complain too much. It is free.
What do we got here?
What are you looking at, Al?
I don't know.
Something delicious?
I was looking at some Seedman's Haze. Now I'm looking at... What do we got? Sister M.
I'm about to smoke some of that Seedman's Haze.
And I'm about to rip some Sister M. Woo! Beautiful. So, I wanted to play a video from a pretty fucking ripping band, and seeing as how we just had a little lesson on weather and cloud seeding, I figured this is a pretty good one.
Is it 831?
It's got a green...
That one. Oh, it's the first one.
Yeah. So, yeah, although this isn't about weather clouds, it's about weed clouds.
It's kind of fitting because you are smoking weed as well.
Yeah, and it's clouds over California. Some footage I shot where I go right in the pit. It was fucking awesome. 41 and I'm still rocking the pit.
Woo! Never too old for the pit.
Oh yeah, you definitely do get too old for the pit.
No,
I hurt for days. I hurt for days after. And when I was a kid, I would go to like sometimes 4 shows in a row, like day after day after day, and just rage. Yeah, yeah. So you definitely you do get too old.
You just roll the wheelchair onto the dance floor and.
And this was a very violent pit. Yeah. Let's play it.
Let's watch. Judge for yourself.
All right. That was a good fucking show. That was at Union Hall in Edmonton. Yeah. Now, if you've never seen them and they're passing through your city, go. Don't fucking hesitate. If you're a fan of metal, if you're a fan of aggressive music, with a positive message, go fucking check them out. These guys fucking rock, and they promote a really, even though it's a very aggressive environment, they promote a very safe environment. In Calgary, there was a guy that started. He was being a little bit too aggressive, and he started punching, and he was like playing his role, and Buddy just basically stopped. And he's like, "Hey, are you fucking fighting? Are you fighting at my fucking show? You fucking asshole! Is this guy fucking fighting at my show?" And then he got him. Yeah, they escorted him out. So they definitely promote a good time. Not they don't want people leaving with broken bones or bloody faces. And yeah, if you get a chance to go see them, go fucking see them, because it's a raging time. Now, of course, Dez was also in a huge, I guess they were kind of a gothic metal band, Coal Chamber. I don't know if you remember those guys from the 90s, but it's a little bit of a departure from his other styles, and there's rumors of a country, kind of an outlaw country album coming out.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Rumors. I heard it on the rumor mill.
Of course.
Could be a polka album coming out. 3 hip-hop singles.
Yeah, polka hip-hop.
Polka hip-hop with a country western vibe.
I'm going to hit this bong.
Hit that fucking bong, Jer. I should hit this bong.
You should. I'm going to steal this lighter, though.
Oh my god, man.
What's up, B-Real.tv? Smoke mad weed.
Smoke mad weed. Hey, we got some fresh and local produce today, too. We also got some nanotechnology.
Uh-oh.
These are hazards of the job, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Watch for flying weed sparks. Ooh, that's tasty.
See, maybe
Seedman's Haze.
Seedman's Haze. Maybe nanotechnology could be used in cannabis, and we could like.
Nanotechnology.
Yeah, canobots.
Canobots.
Well, there could be like these little, like, let's say there's dust, right? And let's say you got spider mites. Instead of getting predator mites, you could get this dust and blow it on your plants, and the dust is actually microscopic robots that just run around and
Robo-dust.
eat the spider mites, and when they're done, they're all programmed to leave the plant.
Robo-dust.
And you could program them to not step on the trichomes. They could move their way around the trichomes.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, nanotechnology for cannabis gardening.
Canotechnology bots.
Yeah. Canobots.
Canobots.
And then we could also use it instead of a screen.
Right.
There could be some sort of nano barrier.
Yeah, they just hold it. Little robots will hold the particles of plant material.
Well, they can make we're gonna see in one of these videos the world's smallest motor.
Oh yeah.
And it's I think it's like 30 atoms or something.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it's just this. It's this suspended
How
little
the fuck do they do
teeny thing that fucking spins, and they can fit 60 of them on the head of a nail. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Crazy shit, man. Nanotechnology just fucking blows my mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And
being able to do it at such a small
what's happening,
level.
ladies? And with a lot of these videos will explain it. Let's go with
A YouTube video or some of your videos?
no, the YouTube.
Okay.
Let's go with the must watch. This is happening now. What is nanotechnology?
All right. Aha. We'll get that going here.
So again, I suggest if you're sensitive, just to roll a big fat joint and take it in stride.
Yeah.
It's all we can do.
Smoke it in stride.
Smoke him in stride. Smoke him in stride. Smoke him with pride.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this then for you.
All right.
This is
Thanks, Chair.
Nanotech. Lovely.
This is a man-made motor, a motor so small that more than 6,000 of them would fit on the head of a pin. Welcome to the world of the nanometer, a unit of measure that is 1/billionth of a meter.
A nanometer is pretty small. One of the best analogies that I like to use is to compare it with a human hair. If you take a hair off of the top of your head, you can see that it's very thin. And now if you take something that's 100,000 times thinner than that, that's a nanometer.
The ability to observe and construct things this small is at the heart of nanotechnology. And what scientists have discovered is that at the nanometer scale, everyday materials start to act in unimaginable ways. For Jeffrey Grossman, a UC Berkeley nanoscientist working with the National Science Foundation, that's exactly the draw.
The behavior of nanomaterials changes or can change when the size becomes so small when compared with a larger amount of that same material. When you have things that sort of start changing the way they behave, and now you have the ability to control that, it sort of opens up an entirely new phase space of material.
Suddenly, it's like the periodic table projects out into a new dimension. It's not just that we have the list of elements, it's where we can change their sizes, and each size is a little bit different than every other when it's very, very small.
The fact that you can customize nanomaterials' unique behaviors has already turned nano into the buzzword of the decade. Some researchers predict nanotechnology could lead to faster computer chips, tiny medical devices that repair clogged arteries, and new filters to clean water pollution. As novel as nanomaterials seem, humans have actually used them for hundreds of years. For centuries, the colors in stained glass windows, for example, have been the result of a controlled heating and cooling process that adjusts the size of tiny crystals in the glass.
That's medieval nanotechnology. What's different now is that we have the ability to look on the nanoscale and see what's happening. That gives us an ability to design materials rather than to just find them by a kind of accidental process.
But understanding and controlling how nanomaterials act can be tricky.
Every time you chop the material in two, say you go from a crystal that's 100 atoms across to 50 to 25, each time you do that, almost all the properties of the material really change.
So these changes are very radical and quite dramatic. If you take a piece of a material, say silicon, and you look at that material, it looks kind of dark charcoal. So it's not that interesting to look at. But now if you take out your little nano ice cream scooper and you scoop out a nano-sized chunk of that material, and you look at that, all of a sudden it glows blue. And if you take a slightly bigger ice cream scooper out, it glows red. And so now you have a material that completely changes the way it looks, the color that it is, just by changing its size.
So the question is, why do nanomaterials behave so strangely? In the case of the nano ice cream scoop, the behavioral change happens when you start to make a material so tiny that its electrons are squeezed into a space smaller than they prefer. It's called quantum confinement. Another factor that shapes nanoscale behaviors is the relationship between volume and surface area. Things this small have much more outside than they have inside.
The surface area of the material starts to skyrocket compared to its volume. And in fact, when you get down this small, most of the material could be just surface, and very little of it is actually volume. And the reason why that's interesting is that the more surface you have, the more reactions you can carry out on that surface. So you can do things like filtering much more efficiently. So you could filter water more effectively with more surface area.
Our ability to observe and change things at the nanoscale has led to a host of new materials applications and has even made it possible for scientists to begin building working nanomechanical machines like this motor. But in the world of nanomachines, nature is still king.
some of the most fascinating things that we see on the nanoscale are the machines that nature builds on the nanoscale. Nature makes rotors and motors and things that operate on this length scale of a few nanometers by making protein assemblies and that have these interesting nanomechanical properties. If you look at the flagellum of a bacterium, it's a little nanoscale motor, and it has bushings and all kinds of little pieces inside there that is built very differently than the way we make ours. And they have some other tricks they're trying to decipher.
Ali Visatos and his colleagues are eager to understand and apply some of these new ideas to the real world. Among their goals, finding new forms of clean energy. Every minute, enough of the sun's light reaches the Earth to meet the world's energy demand for an entire year. This seems like a good place to start.
Photosynthesis and photovoltaics is surely the one where we have the most interesting conversation that goes on between how nature achieves this and how might we do it in the future. If we're to get our energy from the sun, we need to copy some of the lessons of nature, but we also need to find some of our own little tricks that we could apply.
Coming up with some tricks of their own. That's exactly what researchers are doing at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory's Molecular Foundry. Located in the Berkeley Hills, the facility is one of the world's premier nanoscience research centers. Comprising 6 floors, the foundry is a buzzing hive of activity where the newest nanomaterials move from theory into the lab.
We're working on developing plastic solar cells, so trying to harvest light for energy using polymers and more like nylon.
Traditional solar cells using crystalline silicon as the light-absorbing material are less than ideal. Silicon is heavy, expensive, and fragile. In this lab, researchers are trying to replace silicon with polymers, complex, usually man-made molecules. Here, graduate student David Kavalak builds tiny polymer-based solar cells and tests the results.
We're focusing in a solar cell on the active layer of the part that does the light absorbing and the conduction of the electrons to the electrodes. We can design these conjugated polymers that are conducting in any number of ways. We can add on certain side chains to them that make them more soluble, that make them better conductors, that change the energy levels and the band gaps of these polymers. We start with a glass substrate with a transparent electrode, which is normally indium tin oxide. We spin a polymer solution down on top of this, which the solvent evaporates really quickly, and we're left with approximately 100 nanometers of polymer, which is our active layer. Then we take it, evaporate on a top contact electrode, and test it in a solar simulator. We have 8 aluminum electrodes that gives us 8 solar cells per substrate. And so now we can use this to test and see what kind of efficiencies we've gained. We have the ability to control individual molecules in the polymerization steps, and we're just on the very cutting edge of this. It's only been around for so few years that we don't know where this is going to go, but it only looks up.
But along with its promise of a bright new future, nanoscience brings with it a share of risks and fears. In December 2006, the city of Berkeley amended its hazardous materials law to include nanoparticles, making it the only local government in America to regulate nanotechnology.
We know that nanoscale materials can enter inside cells, and we know that that could have consequences for health. And so it's incumbent, it's really required that we do research to understand what is the nature of the interaction between new engineered artificial nanoscale materials and living systems, not just cells, but whole living beings.
I think when you understand what kind of impact nanotechnology could have on some of the global problems, such as global warming, disease, clean water, and so forth, I think that inaction is actually the unethical standpoint. I think stasis is unethical in this case.
These advances that we're describing today are really key to achieving health and to achieving sustainable energy technology, the big issues of our day in many ways. And so I think every member of the public has an obligation to try to learn a little bit about these things so that they can participate in that debate in a meaningful way.
You're back.
It's crazy awesome. A really small level.
Wow, that was really cool, man.
Yeah. So let's just keep going. Let's play the next one. Nanotech Breakthrough. Amazing and frightening.
Okay. We'll get that one out. This stuff is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Now, there's so many applications that you can do with this. It's not always about building these little robots. Like a lot of people don't know this, but some of the waterproof clothing that you wear, rainproof Columbia gear, stuff like that, a lot of that's nanotechnology. They take a silver. Oh, what the hell is it? It's basically a reworking of the atomic structure of silver, and they coat materials with it. Work gloves. There's all sorts of applications for it. So it's not always about building little machines that do stuff, although the little machines can do all kinds of things. Let's say there was no more cedar in the world, but you wanted to. We live in a future world. Okay, this is all hypothetical. You wanted to have a cedar bed set. Well, in theory, with nanotechnology, we can take the atomic structure of cedar and with these little robots build your table. Not actually build a log and cut lumber to make your table, actually build your table out of cedar, out of the atomic structure of cedar, with grains and everything, and it would be cedar.
Yeah. And you could make it, in fact...
Without having to cut down a tree, because it's all about mapping the...
Right. In fact, you could even design it so that you plant a pill in the ground, and out of the tree actually comes out of that. You know, you could have you could make them manifest in any way you wanted as well.
Or you could plant a pill in the ground and grow a pill tree.
Yeah, or it could be anything you wanted, any combination. You could have the table appear right in front of your eyes out of nowhere by just, pouring water onto a little sponge or whatever.
Eventually. Nanotechnology is it's the key to a lot of things. It's also the key to transhumanist agenda, as they talked briefly about how it can affect the cells.
Some of the dangers.
One of the things that we know with nanotechnology is not only can it affect the cells, but it can fuck with our double-strand DNA and turn it into this weird triangle thing. It's fucked. It's fucked. Weird. They can restructure our DNA and not necessarily give us an extra helix strand, but they can manipulate the way our DNA is shaped to create this weird triangular shape.
It'd be like the fly. You turn into.
Yeah, there's and it's proven. Like this is like science. It's not like, hey, we think we can do this or we have it on paper. It's no, look what we've done. Here's all of our paperwork to back it up, and here's the actual visual result of our experiment. Right. Like they've done all of this stuff. It's pretty amazing. There's a lot of positive applications to it too. This one's just plain out fucking crazy. So everybody's seen Predator and the alien technology of the cloaking suit. The U.S. military started playing with this technology, and a company out of Japan, I believe, just perfected. Well, not just, but perfected it quite a while ago. And they have a full-on cape that makes you invisible. So here we go.
This is the nanotech breakthrough, amazing and frightening.
Yeah.
All right.
This thing's crazy.
It is.
I want one. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, you just missed it. Look at that.
Technology that's the first step towards making objects invisible. The technology comes from 2003, but its developers say the Harry Potter-like invisibility cloak is just the beginning. The team, led by Dr. Susumu Tachi from Keio University, is now adapting its findings to help pilots, drivers, doctors and others. Retroreflective projection technology uses a computer, a video camera and projector to shine background images onto the front of a subject wearing specialised clothing, creating the illusion of invisibility. What makes the technology unique is a fabric made of glass beads only 50 microns wide, which can reflect light directly back at the source, much like a movie screen. Viewed from near the light source, the projection is bright even in broad daylight, and researchers say the material can be applied to almost anything. In the short term, the team sees usage in car interiors, airplanes and helicopters. They say blind spots could be eliminated and accidents and hard landings avoided by making walls seemingly transparent. The eventual goal, though, is to create an augmented reality that allows anyone to easily see information on real-world objects.
Looking to the future, instead of glasses, people could wear this, and it would act as a navigation system. It could also tell you who someone is if you meet them around town.
In the few years since the technology's invention, the price of the material, as well as that of computing, has come down, opening the door for smaller yet more powerful applications. Whether used to increase safety or to create a whole new form of computer-human interaction, the world is likely to see, or possibly not see, more of this technology in the future.
I'm watching the red bar. I'm like, yeah, wicked. Go.
And it's so quick. Jeez. All right.
Holy fuck.
Oh, man, yeah, you're totally obviously back. You've been back.
Yeah, we're back.
We're back and stoned, obviously. Wow, this nanotech
very
stuff
stoned.
is...
Yeah, nanotechnology
you know what? I get so engulfed in it, though. Like,
it's cool. Like, it's creepy shit, and it can be used for a lot of bad stuff. And I decided,
imagine all the good stuff it can be.
Well,
used
this
for.
is the see. I decided just to show the potential of it, and ignore the crazy diabolical stuff that it can do. Because there's a lot of info on all the bad stuff it can do. But this stuff is it's all pretty, it's kind of positive.
Yeah, there's
like think of going to Shambhala with your fucking invisible cloak.
Yeah.
And you're just a glowing head
that would be
floating
so
around
cool.
a crowd because you got your invisible cloak on, but you don't got the hood up, and you're like,
that would be pretty slick.
You're just a head bobbing around.
Yeah, obviously an invisible.
There's gonna be some crazy applications like live music, bands wearing suits of it.
Yeah.
All kinds of crazy stuff. We're gonna see
I'm sure it's not gonna be cheap.
In the next 25 years, we're gonna see a completely different world than we're in right now. 100%. There will be floating cars. There's going to be all kinds of crazy shit. Invisible buildings.
That would be.
Well, that's the other thing. They'll be able
to buildings. That's kind
well
of
on the negative side of it, like government buildings and stuff. They can literally just put them places like testing places, jails, all sorts of things, and make them invisible.
Whoa, weird.
Yeah. So like there's some very diabolical applications that can be done with this stuff, but I mean really there's a lot of good stuff. Like they can make little tiny robots that go in and eat tumors. But what they're doing now, because it's still pharmaceutical related and medical related, is they're using it to deliver small doses of radiation directly to the tumor walls, rather than littering the whole body with radiation, killing off all your cells. They're just targeting, which is pretty cool. Another thing is they'll be able to use it in in replenishing soils, all sorts of stuff. Well, they can literally take an army of nanodust, which would be teeny robots that would be maybe 1 nanometer, which is like 20 atoms or something like that, which is fucking tiny. You know, so they can take nanodust and with microbial cultures in them and inoculate dead soils. Wow. Easy to do. So let's go with this one. This is from TED Talks, the freeing energy from the grid. This is Justin Hall.
Justin Hall.
Justin's a very learned man.
All right. This is ready to go.
All right.
And this is a TED Talk. So
this is a TED Talk.
TED's pretty slick.
We've got 2 TED Talks we're playing today. So if this show doesn't make it in the archives, blame TED.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, here it is.
Why can't we solve these problems? We know what they are. Something always seems to stop us. Why? I remember March the 15th, 2000. The B-15 iceberg broke off the Ross Ice Shelf. In the newspaper it said it was all part of a normal process. A little bit further on in the article, it said a loss that would normally take the ice shelf 50 to 100 years to replace. That same word, normal, had 2 different, almost opposite meanings. If we walk into the B-15 iceberg when we leave here today, we're going to bump into something 1,000 feet tall, 76 miles long, 17 miles wide, and it's going to weigh 2 gigatons. I'm sorry, there's nothing normal about this. And yet I think it's this perspective of us as humans to look at our world through the lens of normal is one of the forces that stops us developing real solutions. Only 90 days after this, arguably the greatest discovery of the last century occurred. It was the sequencing for the first time of the human genome. This is the code that's in every single one of our 50 trillion cells that makes us who we are and what we are. And if we just take 1 cell's worth of this code and unwind it, it's 1 meter long, 2 nanometers thick. 2 nanometers is 20 atoms in thickness. And I wondered, what if the answer to some of our biggest problems could be found in the smallest of places, where the difference between what is valuable and what is worthless is merely the addition or subtraction of a few atoms? And what if we could get exquisite control over the essence of energy, the electron? So I started to go around the world finding the best and brightest scientists I could at universities, whose collective discoveries have the chance to take us there, and we formed a company to build on their extraordinary ideas. 6.5 years later, 180 researchers, they have some amazing developments in the lab. I'm going to show you 3 of those today, such that we can stop burning up our planet. And instead, we can generate all the energy we need right where we are, cleanly, safely, and cheaply. Think of the space that we spend most of our time. Tremendous amount of energy is coming at us from the sun. We like the light that comes into the room, but in the middle of summer, all that heat is coming into the room that we're trying to keep cool. In winter, exactly the opposite is happening. We're trying to heat up the space that we're in, and all that is trying to get out through the window. Wouldn't it be really great if the window could flick back the heat into the room if we needed it, or flick it away before it came in? One of the materials that can do this is a remarkable material, carbon, that has changed its form in this incredibly beautiful reaction, where graphite is blasted by a vapor, and when the vaporized carbon condenses, it condenses back into a different form. Chicken wire rolled up. But this chicken wire carbon, called a carbon nanotube, is 100,000 times smaller than the widths of one of your hairs. It's 1,000 times more conductive than copper. How is that possible? One of the things about working at the nanoscale is things look and act very differently. You think of carbon as black. Carbon at the nanoscale is actually transparent and flexible. And when it's in this form, if I combine it with a polymer and affix it to your window, when it's in its colored state, it will reflect away all heat and light, and when it's in its bleached state, it will let all the light and heat through, and any combination in between. To change its state, by the way, takes 2 volts for a millisecond pulse. And once you've changed its state, it stays there until you change its state again. As we were working on this incredible discovery at University of Florida, we were told to go down the corridor to visit another scientist. And he was working on a pretty incredible thing. Imagine if we didn't have to rely on artificial lighting to get round at night. We'd have to see at night, right? This lets you do it. It's a nanomaterial, 2 nanomaterials, a detector and an imager. The total width of it is 600 times smaller than the width of a decimal place. And it takes all the infrared available at night, converts it into an electron with the space of 2 small films, and is enabling you to play an image which you can see through. I'm going to show to TEDsters the first time this operating. Firstly, I'm going to show you the transparency. Transparency is key. It's a film that you can look through. And then I'm going to turn the lights out. And you can see, off a tiny film, incredible clarity. As we were working on this, it dawned on us. This is taking infrared radiation, wavelength, converting it into an electron. What if we combined it with this? Suddenly, you've converted energy into an electron on a plastic surface that you can stick on your window. But because it's flexible, it can be on any surface whatsoever. The power plant of tomorrow is no power plant. We talked about generating and using. We want to talk about storing energy. And unfortunately, the best thing we've got going is something that was developed in France 150 years ago, the lead-acid battery. In terms of dollars per watt stored, it's simply the best. Knowing that we're not going to put 50 of these in our basements to store our power, we went to a group at the University of Texas at Dallas, and we gave them this diagram. It was in actually a diner outside Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. We said, could you build this? And these scientists, instead of laughing at us, said, yeah. And what they built was E-Box. E-Box is testing new nanomaterials to park an electron on the outside, hold it until you need it, and then be able to release it and pass it off. Being able to do that means that I can generate energy cleanly, efficiently, and cheaply right where I am It's my energy. And if I don't need it, I can convert it back up on the window to energy, light, and beam it, line of sight, to your place. And for that, I do not need an electric grid between us. The grid of tomorrow is no grid. And energy, clean, efficient energy, will one day be free. If you do this, you get the last puzzle piece, which is water. Each of us, every day, need just 8 glasses of this, because we're human. When we run out of water, as we are in some parts of the world, and soon to be in other parts of the world, we're going to have to get this from the sea. And that's going to require us to build desalination plants. $19 trillion is what we're going to have to spend. These also require tremendous amounts of energy. In fact, it's going to require twice the world's supply of oil to run the pumps to generate the water. We're simply not going to do that. But in a world where energy is freed and transmittable, easily and cheaply, we can take any water wherever we are and turn it into whatever we need. I'm glad to be working with incredibly brilliant and kind scientists, no kinder than many of the people in the world, but they have a magic look at the world. And I'm glad to see their discoveries coming out of the lab and into the world. It's been a long time in coming for me. 18 years ago, I saw a photograph in the paper. It was taken by Kevin Carter, who went to the Sudan to document their famine there. I've carried this photograph with me every day since then. It's a picture of a little girl dying of thirst. By any standard, this is wrong. It's just wrong. We can do better than this. We should do better than this. And whenever I go round to somebody who says, you know what, you're working on something that's too difficult, it'll never happen. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough time. There's something much more interesting around the corner. I say, try saying that to her. That's what I say in my mind. And I just say, thank you, and I go on to the next one. This is why we have to solve our problems. And I know the answer as to how is to be able to get exquisite control over a building block of nature, stuff of life, the simple electron. Thank you.
All right, so that's some positive stuff that we could be doing with nanotechnology. Let's play some music. I found a really, I don't like Metallica. I think for like a radio band, they're a good radio band, but to take claim to being this epic thrash metal band, I just don't see it. They're like Whitesnake on steroids, you know. But
they wrote some pretty good tunes.
This is what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
This is Enter Sandman, but done by Lemmy done by Motorhead, and it's the same song, but the delivery is way fucking better. Way better. And this is, in my opinion, it's Motorhead. Yeah. You know, but Motorhead's not a metal band. Motorhead's like a full-on rock and roll band. Yeah. They just have a lot of distortion. If you listen to their riffs, like they're playing like rockabilly riffs and stuff.
That's true. Yeah, like heavy though, heavy.
Well, for sure, but it's like, you know, it's their attitude that's metal. You know what I mean? Their music is definitely just full-on rock and roll.
Yeah.
And them covering Enter Sandman is the best thing that's happened to Enter Sandman. I had this song written right off. I was like, that song's a write-off. But here we go. Great delivery.
All right, this is the one.
And there was no nanotechnology used in the making of this song.
That you know of.
Never land. Sleep like a dead.
way, way better version. That's right, kids. You heard it here. Way better version. Fuck yeah. I just realized I've got, what am I going to sublimate? Cinderella to grapefruit.
So, you were telling me a story about Lemmy. I guess we can't really tell.
No, we can't talk about any Lemmy stories.
No, but he
when
sounds
we're,
like he's a crazy guy.
I've got to meet him a couple times. He's fucking super nice. Same with Phil Taylor. Phil's a really awesome guy.
And I hear it's all just an image thing, and these guys, they're like really, you know, like they pull up in fancy cars and limousines. No, I'm just joking. They're rugged guys, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they're rugged guys, but definitely they have car service.
They like some no doilies in there.
No, there's no doilies. There's no doilies. There's lots of Jack Daniels.
Yeah, I've read stories about Lemmy.
They're all true.
In newspaper or like in magazines about how they were saying, oh, well, Lemmy he's drinking the Jack every day, but he was trying to get off the Jack, so they were making him drink beer instead. And so they got him off the Jack onto a case of beer a day.
I bet you that made him fucking mad. Like,
or it was just wine. That's what it was.
He strikes me as a guy that has a routine in his life and just doesn't like it being fucked with, like at all. Yeah. And if you ever get a chance to go see a Motorhead sound check, it's almost better than the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
The last Motorhead sound check I saw, it was like 35 minutes of rockabilly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was awesome.
That is awesome.
So, let's do some fresh and local produce. We haven't done that in a while.
Oh, yeah.
God, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fresh and local produce videos for you guys.
Which one do you want to see first? Starting at 3?
Doesn't matter, man.
Start with the first.
Sure. Play them all. Back to front, front to back.
Do you want to just throw them all down?
Yeah, let's start with that one.
All right.
That's me this morning doing the show. That's actually, that's the show right there being written down, I think.
That's the show being written down?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go ahead and play it now. I'm going to press play.
All right.
All right, there it is.
Looking at a little bit of Renee. Renee is one of those very famous Canadian cut-only strains. This is the pure Renee, not the knockoff seed version, put out by a couple different companies here in Canada. So many people out here try to obtain elite cuts and then think that they can make a seed version of it. Never works. In my opinion, the only way to obtain the Renee is to fucking get a Renee cut. Don't fuck around with some knocked seeds that are, who knows, you know? What kind of male did they use? Did they feminize it? More than likely, feminize is the way people are knocking shit. This, however, is not feminized. It's a female cut. So people, you know, they're like, well, what if we can't get the female cut? Well, just because you order seeds that say Renee doesn't mean you have Renee. The only way, in my opinion, to obtain Renee is to obtain the female cut, the elite cut. Otherwise, you just have some fucking knocked version with a name. I mean, I could take strains from reputable breeders. I've got lots of female cuts from breeders, they're breeders' cuts. I could take those strains, feminize them, and say, hey, look what I got. But it doesn't make it that strain. No, I'm not a huge fan of the Renee. A lot of people go crazy over it. For me, it's kind of like the cheese and stuff. It's just got a really killer smell. I mean, it's got a decent high. But for my metabolism, it doesn't work as well as others. So that's Renee for you guys. All right, we're looking at the infamous purple indica. Let's get this a little closer to some light. Oh yeah. Look at this. So beautiful. Now the Purps is I don't really know. It's a West Coast favorite. We ended up getting bag seed version of this in Winnipeg years and years ago, and it's a phenomenal fucking strain. A lot of people harvest it early because of its ability to bulk up really quick. Now, one thing I found is when it's done early, it really gives me a headache, but this is just fucking such a good version. The sun's just coming up here in Vancouver. It's about 6 a.m. Just wanted to share this Purps with you guys, because it is so nice. Alright, we're looking at some King here. King's a very, very unique strain. Almost smells like amber resin. It's got a extremely unique smell. Very weird structure. I've seen this stuff go super foxtaily, and I've also seen it chunk out and get really round. Depending on the environment it's in, just like anything. And these buds are unmanicured just the way we like them. We can peel off all of these leaves and smoke that gorgeous bud. Keep everything separate. Put the leaves in a jar and tumble them on Friday nights to make beautiful hash. So yeah, this here is the King, and I wanted to share this with you guys because it's really fucking nice weed. Really nice. We've also got some HP 13 we're going to be looking at. Just put these King buds back in their rightful home. Alright. This is my morning hair. So HP 13, G13 to hash plant. Pretty fucking amazing weed. I really didn't like growing it at first. I'm gonna give it another shot, but the smell and taste of this cannabis is so fucking incredible. Very soft. There we go. Look at how chunked that is. So caked. This stuff is fucking amazing weed. So G13, it's got a very milky thing going on. Across to this hash plant, I really don't know how to describe it. The smell is kind of like cream and sugar. Definitely has a sweet aroma, but something milky behind it. Look at it. Look at it. It's just staring at us saying, "Dude, can you please vape me?" Sweet Blue. This is a British Columbia favorite. This is Sweet Skunk. Sweet Skunk being a Breeder Steve thing. Breeder Steve from Spice of Life Seeds. Now retired in the breeding world. Yeah, Sweet Blue, what can we say about this? At one time there was a cut house here in Vancouver, or somewhere in the lower mainland, not quite sure where it was. But at this cut house there was a lot of breeders kept their mothers there for safekeeping. Now, from what I understand, a DJ Short blueberry male was brought into this cut house just as they were, just before they decided to close her down. So all the breeders that had clones there ended up getting blueberry knocks. So we have the Sweet Blue. What else do we have? We have the C+ out of Chimera Genetics, which is Calio to blueberry. Pretty much all the famous blueberry crosses that have come out of Vancouver came out of this one cut house. And from this one knock. Very, very crazy, dark, almost black leaves. They're so dark. I really like weed like this. It gets me fucking ripped. Now, for a long time, the Sweet Blue got me depressed. I really don't know why. But I'd smoke it and I would get a little bit bummed out. It was the only weed that's ever done it to me. Yeah, that's about all I can say about the Sweet Blue. I dig it. It looks fucking crazy. And, it's a gooder. Looking at some Congolese. Oh, the Congolese. I feel I've misled some people. I feel we've all misled some people. Now, I got to speak with Reina Ginga. And she explained to me the story of the Congo. The Congo is, it's one of the strains that La Mano Negra brought back from Africa. Now, I was always under the impression that this is the one that came from the Pygmies, because the Pygmies come from the Congo, but turns out the Banji is the one that the Pygmies grew and heralded. This Congo, I'll find out what region it comes from. I'm going to be doing a pretty extensive interview with Ginga, dispelling all of the bullshit about La Mano Negra and the genetics and where those genetics have gone. So that's the Congo I wanted to share with you guys. I know we've shown it on the show a bunch. Now this is the Swerve. We got this cut originally as the Swerve PK. Now we found out a little bit more about this cut since, and Swerve was given like 3 cuts, and this one is believed to be the PK cross to Leopard. So this is the Leopard PK, allegedly. It's got a really unique smell, really unique flavor. Sweet, dank, I don't know, it's unique, that's for sure. Another one of those ones with the dark, purpley, blackish green leaves. I kind of dig those ones. Now here we have the sweet pink grapefruit. Sweet pink grapefruit being one of the biggest commercial producing strains I've seen. The Vietnamese had this cut in Canada for a long time, and they were putting it out at 35 days in flower because it's so bulky and looks so finished that early. But if you take it to like 10 weeks, you get a product that is much, much better. Now these buds are extremely chunky. I grew a sweet pink grapefruit that the top was so large it wouldn't fit in the large mason jars. So that's pretty amazing. All right. Wanted to share that with you guys because I don't know.
You look to be back.
We're back, we're back, we're back. I'm just practicing my we're back voice.
We're back.
We're back. I kind of like that one. It was a little bubbly.
Freezes on the transitions.
Are we
Those
frozen
are
again?
cold transitions.
Cold fronts.
Yeah. Must be that weaponized weather.
All right, so, well, we're on... we're not even on the topic anymore. Nanotechnology's done, and we played a pretty cool fucking cover. We're gonna play another cover. This is it's a pop tune that Devil Driver decided to cover, and I like their version way better.
Wait, oh, it's on your. It is your video.
Yeah, it's on the cams. It's 0839.
Aha. 0831.
No, 39.
Yeah.
Oh,
831.
that's right. Haha. Tricky camera.
Tricky camera.
Tricky camera. That's my tricky
that's
camera,
boys.
boys.
Anytime you are, Al. So, and you already introed it, didn't you?
Hey, Cookie. What's happening?
Mr. Cookie.
All right.
Throw it on.
Yeah, so this is Devil Driver covering AWOL Nation's Sail. And yeah. It's fucking awesome.
Nice.
Better that you hear what I'm going to say now. We covered this shit because all my life I've been on Ritalin or Adderall. A fucking subject of the universe is ADD, ADHD that fucks me up every minute of my life. And when I heard the song, I said, I called the AWOL Nation. They said, make it heavy. And we did.
You're
All right. So that's Devil Driver covering AWOL Nation's Sale and doing a fucking, I can't even, killer job of it. All right. We're wrapping her up. We got 4 minutes left. Want to thank everybody for tuning into Class in Session. Thanking B-Real TV. Thanking B-Real. Who else am I thanking today? Let's thank Cannabis. We thank Cannabis every other show, I think.
Well, you can always give thanks for Cannabis.
Have to give thanks for Cannabis. Nobody thanks weed enough.
No.
You know, we all do weed shows, but without weed, we wouldn't have any weed shows.
That's true.
That is true. All right, I'm stoned. I'm fucking tired, and I'm babbling.
Tired.
So we're going to peace out, and we're going to leave you with, let's play the Kinks' Destroyer. This is one of my favorite tunes when I was a kid. And, if you're in Vancouver, 307 West Hastings, come on down, buy a bong, Cannabis Culture Headquarters. Mark's going to be out right away. That's going to be epic. I can't wait for him to be out. I'm going to start playing a little more guitar because he's playing bass.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be fun. And, looking forward to it. So if you don't have any plans next year for 420, plan to come to Vancouver. We're going to be at a different location other than the art gallery next year, but it'll be epic because it'll be Mark's first 420 out in 5 years. It's crazy. It's almost like a 920.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts.
It's going to be epic. All right. We're out of here. Thanks for supporting Class in Session. Remember, support your local dealer. Go buy some weed off of whoever you know. And fuck the war on drugs. Very good.
Met a girl called Lola and I took her back to my place. Feeling guilty, feeling scared, hidden cameras everywhere. Stop! Hold on. Stay in control. Girl, I want you here with me, but I'm really not as cool as I'd like to be. 'Cause there's a red under my bed, and there's a little yellow man in my head, and there's a true blue inside of me that keeps stopping me, touching you, wanting you, loving you. Paranoia, the destroyer. Paranoia, the destroyer. Well, I fell asleep, then I woke feeling kind of queer. Lola looked at me and said, "Ooh, you look so weird." She said, "Man, there's really something wrong with you. One day you're gonna self-destruct. You're up, you're down, I can't work you out. You get a good thing going, then you blow yourself out. Sitting by you, self-destroyer. Sitting by you, self-destroyer. Sitting by, you got so much to live for, so much to aim for, so much to try for. You're blowing all with paranoia. You're so insecure, you self-destroyer. And it goes like this, here it goes. Paranoia, the destroyer. Here it goes again. Paranoia, the destroyer. Doctor, doctor, help me please, I know you'll understand. There's a time to buy